right, guys, we got playoffs, and I want to talk about it. It's finally here. So the play-in tournament tipping off tonight. Steph Curry, the babyface assassin, the Warriors will face off against Ja Morant and the Grizzlies. That's the 7-8 matchup out west. The winner will move on to face the Rockets in the first round, while the loser will have to risk it all in a win-or-go-home game. The Warriors have struggled in the past play-in tournaments. Despite Steph averaging over 30 points per game, the Warriors are 0-3 in the play-in, having lost to the Lakers and the Grizzlies in 2021, lost to the Kings last season. Golden State's 3 losses are the most of any team in the play-in tournament. Stephen A., you're up first. Do you expect the Warriors to cruise past the Grizzlies?
I wouldn't say the word cruise. I think it's going to be a tough matchup. Memphis plays at a very, very up-tempo pace. Obviously, they struggled a lot this season, and now a lot of things was going on with them. They got rid of their coach. They lost 3 straight in the immediate aftermath of that before winning 4 of their last 6 to close out the season. They play an up-tempo pace. They're going to push the ball. You've got a guy who can be a superstar at any given moment in Ja Morant. Jaren Jackson Jr. is not mentioned enough. He's averaged over 23 a game on 48% shooting against the Golden State Warriors. Obviously, size works to their advantage when this brother is flowing. And then we also have to ask ourselves which Steph Curry is going to show up. Is it going to be the one on December 19th who didn't make a field goal and scored 2 points? Or is it going to be the one that showed up April 1st, and dropped 52 on them? Yeah, which dude is going to show up? Probably somebody in between that's going to drop 30 plus. I can rely on him, but obviously with Draymond Green giving that guarantee, a lot of eyes should be on him about how they're going to win the championship. You got to win the play-in. You damn sure got to win the play-in if you talk about winning the championship. So I think it's going to be a tough matchup, but I still think that the Warriors being on their home court is going to pull it out.
Look, there's only one Steph Curry that I know. The game you mentioned in December was an aberration. Ever since Jimmy Butler arrived, he's almost back to his 30 points per game clip. It will not be an easy game for Golden State, especially considering that size matters, especially when you think about Draymond Green, his aspirations to be Defensive Player of the Year. He's going to have to deal with Jaren Jackson Jr. Stephen A., you mentioned it. He has had a tremendous season, I know, out for a little bit of time. But if you think about what he brings, he's made more threes this year than ever before. He's rebounding the ball. He's actually better with the ball this year, considering, the goals for him to really advance his game. But when you think about the Golden State Warriors, yes, Steph is better. I think he's going to get over that 27 points per game mark. Jimmy Butler, this is the moment that we've been waiting for. This is the moment that they had to get him to push them over the edge for games like this. Draymond will have to hold them down defensively, but if the whole team plays together, I think the Warriors eke this one out.
Yeah, and I got to agree with both of you guys. I mean, I think it will be a really tough game. I really like the Grizzlies, but listen, Steph Curry, Jimmy Buckets, Draymond Green, I think they understand the importance of winning this game, getting more rest. They've been in this position before. Yes, they are 0-3, but a lot has changed by adding playoff Jimmy. So I don't think they cruise, but I definitely think they win this game.
Well, I think the one thing that before we end this subject that I think is very, very important to say is this. It would be very disastrous for the Golden State Warriors if they lost this game. If they lost this game, or if they lost, I don't mean this game. I mean they ended up not being in the play-in, because I know if they lose this game, they still could fight for the 8th seed. I'm talking about if they missed the playoffs. You made this deal for Jimmy Buckets. You wanted Kevin Durant. He didn't want to come back. You settled with Jimmy Buckets. You come there, y'all playing lights out. We talking about y'all being a championship contender. Then obviously you lose the regular season finale to the Clippers. You end up being in the play-in instead of the playoffs. And then you miss the playoffs because you can't win the play-in. That would be very, very disastrous for the Golden State Warriors. That I will say.
I want to flip to the other side, because there was a time we like to talk a lot about, Marcus, who's going to be the next face of the league. And there was a period in time when we thought it was going to be Ja Morant, obviously dealt with some off-the-court trouble. Yeah. Is his superstar status on the line tonight?
No, I don't think his superstar status on the line. Look, Ja Morant is a superstar, right? He's a budding superstar in this league and will be for a long time. Memphis has to continue to upgrade talent around them to have a better team. They fired their coach in the middle of the season, right? This is a young team trying to find their way. He is a good player in this league and will be great. I don't think one game or even one series define his superstar status.
Stephen A.?
No, I want to hear what Shanae has to say first. I want to hear. And by the way, the outfit, the hair, do the whole bit. It's working, girl.
Oh,
It's
me?
working. Way to
Thank
go.
you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Stephen A. Appreciate it. I love the love. I know that you're gonna try to check me because you think I'm gonna agree with Marcus on this.
Should.
Because thank you. Period. One game does not define a player, especially given the state of the Memphis Grizzlies. I feel like the last few years, it has been a series of unfortunate events. Some of those were, self-inflicted by Ja Morant, which he has owned up to. But to me, I love the words that he said entering the postseason, entering this play-in matchup. I just have to be Ja. Just be Ja. That's all I have to do. This month, he's been averaging 30 points per game and shooting 40% from three. He is trending upward. He's playing his best basketball right now. I think people see it, they recognize it, and they understand that this is a team that's dealing with change. So right now, I'm not saying that this is a situation where his superstar status is on line. Maybe next season, seeing how he responds after they have an off season to correct some of these issues that they've had, from coaching to playing style, because the offense didn't really favor him for most of the year. Next year is where I'm really going to grade them, but he does have a huge opportunity tonight. If he goes out there and is able to beat Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green, now he's back in the conversation. As Marcus said, he is a superstar already, but he can reintroduce himself with a win.
You can't sit up there and say that he's already there, but then say this is a huge, huge opportunity. If you're a superstar already, then the opportunity, it doesn't matter that much. The fact of the matter is that he has to remind us who the hell he is. Think about how you've chronicled excellently, I might add, how the league has evolved and some of these young lines we see on the come up in Houston, in OKC, and various other players. Yeah, the elder statements, the LeBron James, Steph Currys of the world, of course, they're still the faces of the league and they deserve to be so because they're still elite. But in the same breath, you got a lot of young cats that have come into the fold that are putting everybody on notice. Here they come. And so you got a guy like Ja Morant. You only played 9 games last year for obvious reasons. We don't need to belabor that point. And by the way, for folks out there that's looking for every little thing to get on him about in terms of, his gestures after year, you might need to calm down with that, Ja, because we don't need the NBA bothering you. But let's not act like the brother's really doing something so incredibly wrong and criminal. Let's calm down, pump the brakes and stuff. I actually like the grenade thing. It didn't bother me at all, okay, to be honest with you. But if the league wants you to stop, go ahead and stop, because we don't need that. What we need is to see that brother on the floor reminding us of who the hell he is. Now, this is a cat that shoots 30% from three-point range. We know that when you can't really shoot the three, and he has been shooting the three well as of late, but we know that if you can't shoot the three, you're not a reliable three-point threat, that might impede your ability to elevate your level of play compared to a lot of other guards that you might have to go against in this league. Ja is at a point right now. He was the Rookie of the Year. He was the Most Improved Player of the Year. The brother was averaging 27. He was averaging 26. He's averaging 25. This year he's at 23. I'm just looking for him to go on the stage, win or lose. You letting Steph Curry know. You letting Golden State know. You letting the basketball world know. Don't ever dismiss me. I'm that dude. That's what we need to see from Ja Morant. When Steph Curry dropped 52 the other week, April 1st, I believe, Ja had about 36 that game. I'm saying that's the kind of stuff we need to see from him. While somebody, even when a superstar is playing on a superstar caliber level, Ja Morant is like, I'm right here. That's what we need to see from him to remind us and to reestablish what we know he can be, but what he needs to be again.
Who's under the most pressure to win tonight? Steph, Jimmy, or Dre?
There's only one player, I think, out of all NBA players that guaranteed a championship, and that was Draymond Green.
Yes.
I think he's under the most pressure, but he thrives in those situations. It's almost like he's manifesting it for himself. Look, if you think about this squad, Steph is going to show up, knock down threes. Jimmy Butler, one of the fiercest competitors the NBA has seen this generation. Draymond has his hands full, especially this year, considering he's done a great job. He's literally manifested himself to Defensive Player of the Year contention. Ever since Jimmy Butler arrived, the Golden State Warriors have held their opponents to the 3rd fewest points per game. That is a lot of Draymond, which is great. It's a part of the wins, but also that is part of the pressure that Draymond has brought on himself.
And I agree. Listen, if I'm Draymond Green, just because I know who he is and he has that same fire I have, I'm going off a limb and saying the same exact thing. We're going to win a championship. We got Jimmy Butler, right? I think, yes, it's pressure to win tonight. But if they don't win tonight, they still have a chance to get out of play-in. It's more pressure of getting out of the play-in altogether, right? They still will get a #1 seed if they got the 8th seed in OKC, which I think they still can beat. If they get the Rockets, I think they still can beat the Rockets, right? It's pressure to win. But I'm with Draymond. I love what he did. I love that he stepped out on a limb and took up for his guys and say, listen, we're going to win a championship tonight. And I'm in this year, and I'm with him, right? But they do need their rest. They do have some banged up guys. So it would help them to get out of tonight. But even if they didn't get out of tonight, I still see them getting out of play-in and still see them getting past the first round. Either way.
Well, I'm glad that you're with them. I'm very touched. It's very, very, very nice that you're with them. Be with them when they fall. Because if they fall, particularly in the play-in, you're going to be right there with them. That's all right. The point is, it's not the end of the world. This is a 4-time champion. He, by the way, is getting my vote for Defensive Player of the Year. I'm turning in my vote in the next hour. So, brother is the Defensive Player of the Year. He's got my vote. But we also saw that same guy that I'm voting for Defensive Player of the Year, who guaranteed a championship, who helped the Golden State Warriors finish 20-7 since that guarantee, who missed a layup that could have ended up
that is true.
Winning the game on Sunday against the Clippers.
So
I understand it happens. But that's my point. See, when you're talking about greatness and you're talking about these, because all of y'all that's been in the NBA, y'all are the creme de la creme. Millions upon millions of people wish they were in the position you were in, the position he's in. So we're talking about you versus your great contemporaries. Not you against me, not you against cats that can't play. We're talking about you amongst the elite. Well, guess what you got to be a champion? Elite. So when you talk it, you got to back it up. And when you don't back it up, that has to be mentioned too, while appreciating the greatness that you have, which is why in the same breath, we can look at Draymond Green and say, Defensive Player of the Year. This Warriors team can't win without that brother. This brother's a 4-time champion. Oh, by the way, get ready to get him ready for the Hall of Fame. He's going to the Hall of Fame, and he deserves it. All of those things can be true. But damn, you missed that layup on Sunday. We really need that big-time three-point shot you made from the right corner a few minutes earlier. But we really, really needed that layup. You really, really needed to avoid that play-in. And if you end up losing in the play-in and you could have avoided it, people are going to remember that too. That's how it goes.
But also, Stephen A., speaking of matchups, you have to give him his credit because during the Warriors' heyday of winning multiple championships, they played small ball. They inspired the rest of the NBA to play small ball, and that was because Draymond Green was able to switch onto anybody. He's going to be called upon to do exactly that, especially tonight, which is why the pressure is on him, but most importantly, moving forward in the Western Conference. We saw what Zubats did to the Golden State Warriors, 22-17. That's why the pressure's on Draymond.
They played small ball, but Andrew Bogut wasn't small. Zaza Pachulia wasn't small.
Yeah, but you plugged them in here and there because of the matchup, right? And let's go back. Listen, he did miss a layup, but that doesn't take away his greatness. His greatness is defined of being a great leader, a great player amongst other great players and a defensive side, of being able to actually be one of the first guys that started the small ball, right? He was one of the first guys that you were allowed to play at the 5. So just because he missed that layup, yes, you want him to not play in the play-in. This is their story. He tried to finish over a guy that was way bigger than him. It wasn't like he was just wide open. He had contact. It was contested. Right. Guys miss open shots for wins. So that doesn't define if he's great or not. That doesn't define. Listen, we all miss layups. I've missed.
Last point.
Facts.
There's an epitaph that's written and people chronicle your career. And that's the kind of speech that you get ready to give, Marcus, when the career is said and done, and we're celebrating this brother walking into the Hall of Fame.
Easily.
But you don't say it now when you got a playing game tonight that you really shouldn't have had, and you got this going down.
Okay.
Wanna try to boast at what I look like. Think I'm gonna try to wear, pull up long range. Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. It's NBA over here,